today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to do a segment we like to call Dare to Compare. And the Beard is going to tell you what we're going to compare.
Yeah, so we got in a couple weeks ago the Firefly. I'm going to forget the numbers. We'll just call it the Double Cut Junior.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll call it the Firefly Double Cut Junior. Well, we did a quick episode, like an unboxing and a quick look at that. And so when we did that episode, we said we were going to compare that to this. Because how does $139.98 guitar hold up to other stuff? And so I don't think it's a totally unfair comparison. This is a PRS Soapbar II. Bought on the used market.
SE?
Yeah, it's an SE. Bought on the used market. It wasn't super expensive on the used market. I can't remember, but the $200 to $300 range. $200 to $300 range on the used market. So this is the first little step with this. And then I think if all goes as planned, and I think all is going to get... sometimes you hate to mention it, but because it doesn't happen. But I believe that Cristal Porta is going to, from Woodshed Guitar Works in Carlisle, we're going to hand this over to him and let him take a look. Because the other thing that we're interested in, I think, is, can you take a $138 guitar without investing in it really heavily?
Without over-improving.
Right. I mean, obviously, we could spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to buy new tuning pegs and everything. Without over-investing in it and have it be kind of playable. So the one thing we need to mention before we do this little dare to compare is that the bridge on the Firefly has been updated since purchase. So there is a Firefly Facebook fan page. They talk everything Firefly. Those guys are really into the guitars. Somebody recommended this $10, had a $5 coupon. I think it was $12 to start with bridge as a replacement. And I will tell you, it wasn't a matter of slipping off the old one and slipping on the new one, because these weren't quite lined up. Basically, I had to wind the pins all the way out, put it on, and then screw it down. And it was a little...
Well, maybe cue the card right here, but the other bridge was sitting kind of like that. Even my untrained, non-technological eye was like, that's not even going around the pole.
Right, it was pushed so far back. Because the thought is that maybe these pins were put a little too far forward.
Right. And they didn't have adjustable saddles. It was more of a wraparound, sort of like this, but not.
But it was much shallower.
Yeah.
So even this one was much. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
We replaced the bridge. So
he replaced the bridge.
Replaced the bridge on it. And so what we're gonna do today is dare to compare them. So we're gonna come up. We're fooling around, found a little riff. We're gonna play the riff. I'm going to play the Firefly through the riff a couple times, so you'll hear some rhythm guitar with that, hear some solo kind of stuff, and then we're going to swap the guitars, do the same thing again, same riff. I'm playing the Firefly through a Fender Deluxe, Hot Rod Deluxe, with a Analog Man King of Tone, which is maybe... why would you get the King? I don't know.
King of Tone costs three times as much as a guitar.
You can buy 3 Fireflies for the price of the King of Tone. The King of Tone was there. So that's why we're using the King of Tone from last time we re-recorded. And I guess cheap still, the Donner Yellowfall delay. And then you're plugged into...
PV Classic 30 with a MXR... Oh my gosh, you just fixed it for me. My carbon copy.
Carbon copy delay.
Which is back in action.
So you're just going straight in, second channel of the PV Classic 30.
Yeah.
Get your gain there.
Yep.
All right. So that's where we're at.
All right.
Neither one of us was sure, I guess. So, word of warning. So we're gonna switch these up. Word of warning. Check those knobs and switches so you know where they're at.
Okay. Well, yeah.
They're kind of, if you can see, if we can see that, but they're kind of in a strange. I'm used to a volume knob here with the switches, so that threw me a little bit. That's not why I hit that really bad note, but in keeping it real, which we like to.
You must have been reading my mind. I'm like $100 guitar with $1 million playing, and about the time I had that thought, you're like, whack.
So I'm just gonna check the tuning.
He's gonna check the
But now we're back. So, a little bit of fast forwarding through some tuning and some useless banner.
Yes. All right.
Right.
Back in.
All right, so.
Well, I feel like I think this is. I guess I played this before, but man, what a chunky neck. It was fine, but after going from that to this, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the neck is.
Oh man, it sounded big and fat.
You know, going from that neck to that neck felt like going home.
Right.
Because like main guitar would be a PRS, and I think that even though being an SE, I think the neck carve is pretty similar to what I'm used to.
Right.
Which, you know, I think speaks to the quality of PRS while we're talking about this, you know, because PRS, you know what you're getting. Yeah. All right, the intonation problems are probably not as apparent in that guitar as that one, too. That had more of a thicker, to me, sitting in the room. I don't know how it's going to come across on the video.
Right.
To me, sitting in the room, that had more of a thicker, kind of creamier sound to it. This had more of like a thinner. And people rave about those P90 pickups in the PRSs. So I don't want to say that I kind of like the pickups in that better, because that's just like really against. Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, certainly the neck jumped out at me, and you know, I played it through the same amp, and I'm a self-proclaimed Gainiac. But so if you compare the two when I played them, there was a difference. But I felt like you said when you used to play the SE, it felt really thin. Like on mine, I don't know that it felt thin. Mine found, you know, kind of like punk rockish, you know. But yeah, but this was just fat on both. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I liked it. I had to get used to just the switch in the neck. But man, I mean, you know, if someone again blindfolded me and handed me this and said, you know, what are you playing? Oh, $130 guitar. No, I wouldn't have said that necessarily.
I'm really impressed with the fretwork on the neck.
Yeah,
feels great.
Right.
It's not when you pick up a $200, and I say $200, $300 guitar. It doesn't feel like that.
Right.
The neckwork feels. I mean, there's some slop in the paint job.
Yeah, I can feel a little bit right there, and we talked about right here.
Yeah, there's like a big glob of paint on the back.
No, it's like Arctic white. You know, it's a cool guitar.
Yeah,
it's so much better with this because, like, if you go back again, if we didn't put the card up before, if you go back and watch our first playing of this, we struggled with it really, and like we wanted it to work because we're like, this is great. It's the whole rage and the whole buzz, but I don't know, man. This feels so much better.
This has a set of Kurt Magnin strings on it now.
Yeah, you just changed the strings too. Yeah.
So the strings are definitely much better than what.
I mean, even just playing it acoustically. That would have been
a little. Yeah, there's still a little, I think,
Yeah.
intonation-wise, especially if you put it up on the tuner, you can find it, but not to the extent.
Well, like you said, this is your setup, are the poles the right height, you did the length, right? And you kind of you did a quick and dirty setup.
Right.
But I'm even just kind of looking at it, like the action down here is a little higher than probably some of the other guitars. But anyway, we're going on about that. I mean, I don't know, like.
It'll be interesting to see what Chris says when he gets a chance to look at it.
I don't know, dare to compare. Was it even a fair comparison? I don't know. It was that one's slightly more expensive. He used the word felt like home because we do like PRSs, and even though I've got a couple different neck carves, very comfortable.
Yeah.
This, sometimes you play something different, it kind of inspires you to play differently, or you approach it differently. I mean, you handed me this, and I literally would have said, "Oh, just give me a Louisville Slugger." What did you just give me? Because this is fat, but it brought out a whole different kind of playing, and
it does make you. It definitely does make you play a little different.
Yeah.
Like, and there's been. I'm not going to say that I've spent like hundreds of hours on it. I haven't,
right.
But over the last week or so, I have picked it up. The couple, like if I'm sitting at the computer doing something, I want a guitar in my lap to noodle. I've been grabbing this and just plugging it into the Fender and on like nice and clean or something, and like I've enjoyed it, which I think is the bottom line.
I say there's only two, the Tagima and this. Every one you buy, let's try to do the buzz, and I'll probably flip it. And then when you play the Tagima, you're like, nope, not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I played it on a YouTube Live when we were done. I loved it. I kind of got down with it. And then played this one like, this is the one you're going to flip. And now you change the bridge, and it's much better, and it'll probably only get better when Chris touches it. And then we just have to see when the other, I'm drawing a blank.
The Harley Benton,
yeah,
which I think is October-ish.
Oh, well, there you go. This one will be vintage by then.
Right. I think the problem is, and I don't know, in the comments maybe you can tell us if I'm right or wrong about this. Because Pat's already spoke to it a little bit, and not to make this video much longer, but I think the problem is just about every guitar I touch, I can find something to love about it.
Yeah,
and
right.
like you said, they inspire different things. And we talk about like the whole Carpenter thing, right? People are like, well, why do you have so many guitars? Like, does a Carpenter have one hammer? Does a Carpenter have one saw? There's different guitars for different things, maybe, but we're not session players or anything like that.
Right.
There's just, I think they inspire you to play a little different. Mm-hmm. Do you find that?
Yeah.
To the viewer.
Right. Whether it be a pedal or a neck shape or a pickup type.
Do you find that different guitars make you kind of approach what you do differently, inspire you differently, and maybe, and in the end, I guess, keep you playing?
Yeah.
So, with that,
yeah.
if you want to find out what Chris has to say. So
Yeah.
Chris Teleporter from Woodshed Guitar Works in Carlisle has a Facebook page. If you don't know of Chris, look him up. He's a great guy. Is certainly a big supporter of what we're doing, and we really appreciate that. So check him out and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to see what he has to say. And with that, I guess. With that.
PJ, on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.
I butchered that at the end. Oh my gosh, I was all over the place.
That's all right.